Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with Turkish chicken kebabs. That's right, I said chicken kebab, not chicken kebab. When I think kebab, I think chunks of overcooked meat separated by pieces of undercooked vegetable, and so I'm not really into those. But this kebab, on the other hand, is all meat all the time, and I think far superior. And as you can see from this total spoiler of a picture, we're still going to be getting our veggies, so don't worry. And like almost all my favorite grilling recipes, this thing features big flavors with a very small amount of effort. So let's go ahead and get started with the marinade. So for that, we are going to need some Turkish-style yogurt, which you probably can't find. But what you can find in every supermarket is Greek yogurt, so we'll use that. And then to that, we'll add some olive oil, along with some freshly squeezed lemon juice. And do I need to keep telling you that? Is anyone not using fresh lemons? I mean, unless you work at some kind of weather station in Antarctica, you really don't have an excuse. And then we want to do a little touch of tomato product. I believe in the original recipe it called for tomato paste, but because I'm an American, I reserve the right to use ketchup, which really does work beautifully. We're also going to want a large amount of minced garlic, as well as a generous amount of kosher salt, and of course its good friend, freshly ground black pepper. We're also going to spice this up with some chili flakes, and I'm using Aleppo chili flakes, because it is from the Middle East, so it seems appropriate, but any hot chili flake will work. And then we'll finish off our seasonings with a little bit of paprika, as well as some ground cumin, and then last but not least, everybody's favorite secret ingredient, cinnamon. And then let's take a whisk and give this a mix. And this will be the perfect time to admit I'm not really sure how Turkish this recipe is. I don't really do a lot of research, or any research, but I am basing this on a Turkish lamb marinade that I've used for years. Plus, we've never called anything Turkish before, so that's what I went with. But anyway, like I said, we'll mix that up. And once that's set, we'll simply set that aside and move on to the chicken. And I'm going to be using boneless, skinless chicken thighs for this. Why anyone would want to do this with chicken breasts is beyond me. But having said that, you are the kebab of your kebab, so you use whatever you want, but I am going with the thighs. And you can, if you want, certainly use these chicken thighs whole, but I generally like to cut them in half. I think it works out a little better. So as you can see, I'm going to split these pieces in two. And then once our thighs have been cut up, we can go ahead and toss that in the marinade. But not all at once. All right, I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but chicken thighs are famous for all their nooks and crannies. So if we just dump it all in at once and try to mix it up, there may be some nooks and or crannies that don't get enough marinade. So I do take an extra minute and make sure each piece is getting thoroughly coated. And once we are confident that's happened, we will wrap that up and we'll let that marinate in the fridge from anywhere between 2 and 8 hours. So ideally I like to do this the morning of the day we're going to grill. But yes, you can leave it overnight. But when it comes to yogurt-based marinades, I'm always a little scared to let them go too long. So I am recommending 2 to 8 hours, after which we can pull it out and begin the impaling process. And I'm going to use some metal skewers for this. And not just one. We're going to use 2 metal skewers per kebab. And that's going to give us increased stability and a little better maneuverability on the grill. And of course, because we are using 2 skewers, we've basically doubled the chances you will accidentally give your hand the old poka-poka. So be careful as you're doing this. And please note how we're putting these on here. Okay, we're doing them a flat way, kind of side to side, so that we can fit a lot more meat onto one kebab, which is going to give us this nice, thick, gorgeous log of chicken, as opposed to just a few chunks. And I really didn't do any trimming to these chicken thighs, but if you do see a little piece of anything weird, go ahead and pull it off. And the other nice thing about stacking these kind of side to side like this is not only are we going to get a larger mass of meat to grill, which means more caramelization on the outside and a more tender, juicy inside, but we've also created tons of cracks and crevices, which are going to help absorb all that beautiful smoky flavor from the grill. And once those are set, we'll just clean up our plate a little bit, and of course our hands, and any surface that touched raw chicken. And if you want, you can just wrap this up and leave it in the fridge until your grill is ready. But mine was ready. So I'm going to head out back and toss these on a charcoal grill. And one huge tip here. Yogurt-based marinades are incredible, but they love to stick. So do not even think of turning this over for at least 3 or 4 minutes. All right, we need some serious crustification first. Otherwise, you may tear your chicken. So I let mine go for, like I said, at least 3 or 4 minutes until I could kind of feel it was releasing from the grill, at which point we'll flip that over. And even though it may stick a little bit here and there, that's not too bad. And then the same drill for the other side, basically. Let it go for 3 or 4 minutes before you try to turn it. And then after that, all bets are off. You can continue to cook that, flip it around as you see fit, until it reaches your desired level of doneness. And to be safe, I'm going to suggest you use a thermometer And one nice thing, because we did line up that chicken side by side, we have a little more room for error than your traditional chicken kebab, which are usually just smaller chunks of chicken, which really can overcook quickly. So if you do happen to leave these on a couple extra minutes, you should still be pretty good. And by the way, you know when the tiny scraps that are attached to the grill taste awesome, that this is going to be good. But anyway, like I said, we will cook that to our desired level of doneness, at which point we'll head back inside and transfer these on to our platter. And I like to transfer it right onto some lavash. I mean, why have those amazing juices dripping on the platter when they could be soaking into something we can eat? And then, of course, as they say, man cannot live by chicken and bread alone. So we're going to go ahead and surround this with some very delicious and appropriate garnishes, which, as you can see, includes cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, some parsley and onions, as well as some fresh lemon. And that Turkish chicken kebab platter is done. You know I'm no food stylist. I prove that almost every video. But this really is something that takes very little effort to make look gorgeous. And at this point, there's nothing left to do except to de-skewer these and eat. And man, is it succulent. Forget the amazing flavor from all those spices. There's something about a yogurt-based marinade that just makes the best grilled meat. It just comes out so moist and tender, just absolutely gorgeous. And if you want, you can eat this in big chunks, dinner plate style. But what I like to do is kind of chop it up a little bit and use it in what I call a Turkish taco. And what that is a piece of lavash I've warmed on the grill, and I'll swipe that with a little bit of hummus before topping it with some chicken, and then we'll go ahead and garnish with some cucumber and some tomato and some onion and parsley, of course. And then I think the best way to finish this is with a spoon of cold yogurt sauce. Our tzatziki sauce would be perfect here, although apparently I'm supposed to pronounce it tzatziki, but that feels awkward. But what doesn't feel awkward is to finish this with an extra pinch of chili flakes, and we'll roll that up. And that, my friends, is something you definitely want to eat. Just such an incredibly delicious bite of food. And by the way, I've been experimenting with some new voice-activated lavash. Check this out. I say open. Huh. Oh, you know what? I'm using the wrong line. Open sesame. There we go. That's better. But anyway, all kidding aside, this really did come out fantastic. And for a technique that's so simple, it really does produce beautiful, delicious grilled chicken. So I really do hope you give this a try. Head over to foodwishes.com for all the ingredient amounts and more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.